All right, ladies and gentlemen, are our schools here in this country, are they fascist? Are children being held on a daily basis in prisons or under prison-like conditions? Well, our next guest has done a whole movie, and in it, or documentary, I should say, he believes that that is the case. Cevin Soling joins us, director of the acclaimed documentary, The War on Kids. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Good to talk to you. So let me just get this straight from the beginning. You have no objection with kids being required to be in school for a set amount of time, attend a set amount of classes, unless, of course, they're homeschooled. I mean, you have no problem with that structure in our society, do you?
No, that's incorrect, actually. The One of the fundamental problems with schooling, I think that makes it so destructive, is that it is compulsory, and there's a whole host of problems that are associated with
Well,
that.
what? Okay. Well, what would you suggest then if if a parent doesn't want to send their kids to school, and they're not homeschooling them? What happens to that child?
Well, there are other environments. I think that's sort of the wrong question, or that's not necessarily what my work focuses on. I think it would be kind of like tantamount to hiring a study to observe why a effort is failing, and then the reporter comes back and says that you're relying exclusively on airstrikes, and you can't do that. So my work is
No,
basically
no, no,
showing.
no, 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 no. I wanted to start at a premise. And if your premise is kids should not be compelled to go to school in the first place, and then you show us, how terrible in your opinion schools are for kids. But I'm asking you, if you got your way,
Well,
what would kids do
there are
during the day?
it's again. I mean, and I'll throw it out. There are constructive processes. There are democratic schools as one option. Unschooling is another.
What's a democratic? Wait. Well, what's a
A
democratic
democratic
school?
school is there are a number of these, quite a few, and thousands of kids attend them, and they're environments that promote self-directed learning where children basically get to pursue the things that interest them. There are adults present.
At
Uh,
what age? At what age, Kevin? At 5 years old? At six
Whatever
years
age
old?
it can be. It can be as young as five, whatever.
Right. So if they're not in, so if they don't want to learn, if they don't want to learn math, science, history, they just go through life without learning it because at 5 and 6 and 7 they're not interested. Is that how it works?
Potentially there are some people who just it is not something that interests them, and we see plenty of people who go through compulsory schooling who can't read or write. In fact, the Department of Education released a report showing that only 13% of Americans are rank in the proficient level of literacy, and these are people who predominantly, were have gone through compulsory schooling. So if you're not interested in learning math, and there are a host of people who have no interest in math and don't learn it and don't know it, even though they went through compulsory schooling. It's not a magic fix. You at some point you
Well,
have to be.
how do they go? How do they go through life? How do they get a job and go through life if they're not interested in math and from the age of 6 they don't have to take it? They don't have to take math. They don't
The,
theoretically have to learn to add, subtract because they don't wanna. So you're
right. So
saying that's
you're
okay.
presenting
How,
kind
how
of
do
a
you go? How do you go through life like that, Kevin?
Well, you're presenting a hysterical scenario. People who come to the point where they need math for something that they're interested in pursuing ultimately end up learning math. And there's a host of people who have gone through this process who you can look at and see, and they become successful, productive people as far as the graduates. So there are studies that are already done on quite a large population who goes through this. Plenty of
Kevin,
people
what
who
about what about exams? How do you get into college? What about exams? What about standards?
actually that's kind of funny. Colleges are actually motivated to attract students or people who apply, applicants who have not gone to traditional schooling, because their love for learning hasn't been crushed. That's one of the things that happens with compulsory learning, is you can create this conformist population that has lost all interest in.
How will a college judge a child's entry into that school if there's no test marking, no exam marking, no nothing, just based on what they're interested in?
Well, there are other ways. This is something that is already currently taking place now, and you can speak to people at the Ivy Leagues, at the people who do admissions there, and you'll see when if you want to talk to them, there are better people to talk to than me on this.
All right. Well, Kevin, in my opinion, education in this country stinks. And it's not because kids are made to go to school. It's because teacher unions have indoctrinated kids, taken over the system. They dictate. Teachers stay there forever. You can molest a kid in New York and you keep getting paid in a rubber room. That's what's wrong with schools. You take away that structure, you take away marriage structure, you're taking away society. Cevin Soling, thank you.
Thank you for having me.